Hello! Welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to talk to you guys about working for Dada ABC. I'm actually just finishing up tonight's classes. My schedule is that I work Friday and Saturday nights from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And then on Friday and Saturday this week, I picked up shifts from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. We'll warn you guys, if you are just starting with Dada, um, that's a tough turnaround. If you're from the United States and you work Central Standard Time or even Mountain Time, that's a rough turnaround. You don't get as much sleep as you think you do because I don't know about you guys that teach online, but once I get done with those classes and those students, I get so wound up. Like I am excited, I'm ready to go, and it is 11 o'clock at night and it's bedtime and I'm still awake. So for me, it's just a lot easier to um, not do that, but it's summer right now, so I'm not teaching in my regular job. I teach second grade in a classroom, but so this is kind of a nice compromise. I work 2 days a week. It works pretty well. I can apply for more shifts if I want them. But that is a rough turnaround. So if you're applying for those jobs, just think about how much energy it takes in a classroom. If you've worked in a classroom setting before and just getting all excited and getting going with stuff, it's the same in an online classroom, almost more so, because in an online classroom, you have to be active. You have to be moving your hands and talking to students. One big thing that we do online when we teach is use TPR, total physical response. Total physical response means that I use my hands to talk a lot. So, for example, I might say, "Can you say dog?" And I might have, I probably don't even have him out right now because I didn't use him tonight, but I don't have them out. My mini finger puppets. They're very cheap. You can go down Amazon and get them. But I might pull out my dog and I'll say, "Dog, can you say dog?" And then I'll listen. So I use my hands. A lot of times I have both hands and I'll use both hands to make sure I hear. And that's very exciting for students. It's very exciting for me, and it really gets me going. It's so funny. I didn't ever think that I would get this caught up in teaching online, but I really have. It's really spoken volumes to me about opportunities out there, things that I can teach somebody else. A goal of mine has always been to teach other teachers. It's a long term goal, obviously. I'm a new teacher. I just started teaching. I only have 1 year in the classroom. But eventually, I want to be more of a consultant teacher. I love teaching kids, I love being one on one with them. But there's such a need for support in the classroom. And as a teacher, I'm seeing that more and more. I love having other teachers come in and teach me. I love reaching out to others. So that's one reason I'm basically making this channel and running with it. I had a few people email me and they're like, "Man, I just wish I knew more about this. I wish that I had more information." So that's what I'm going to dedicate this channel to, is just giving people information. I don't have all the answers. I do not have a degree in teaching English as a second language. I do have my endorsement in special education. So that is kind of an area that I've worked on, I've had classes in, but it is not my main degree. So it's kind of interesting to see how much I can actually teach other students, how much I'm learning, how much I'm growing. It's a very big professional step for me in my career and just professional development. Um, and it's something I always reach out to others with. Sorry if I'm saying a lot. That's another thing that I probably should work on. But um, if you guys ever have any questions and you want answers to them, just email me, comment in the link below, or comment in the comment section below down here, and I will go ahead and answer those questions as soon as I see them. Sometimes I don't get on right away, so if I don't answer right away, it's not that I'm ignoring you. I will answer, but it will take me a little bit of time to get back to you. Like I said, I have a classroom full time during the fall and winter and spring. And then I also am a mother of two. I've been married for almost 10 years. So I've got lots of responsibilities in my home as well. So the first thing that somebody asked me was how this worked with my family and how it worked for my family. And the biggest difference that I've seen with me working online, I used to work at a residential treatment facility. Working at a residential treatment facility, I had full blown hours. I had 8 hours at least a day. On weekends, I could work doubles. I could work what's called a sleepover, where I sleep at the facility. After I started teaching, obviously, I quit that, but the plan was that I was going to go back to that during the summers, and it was rough. I have a hard time telling people no. It's kind of my downfall. I like working, I enjoy spending time, and I'm very passionate about whatever I do. So, working in that kind of setting was difficult for me because it was difficult for me to tell someone that needed my help no. I'm a helper person. I want to make everybody's life better. I want to make it easier. And that setting didn't work for me as a parent and as a wife. I couldn't be with my family. I last year worked there as a group leader, so a supervisor. And when nobody could work, I worked. So over the holiday of the 4th of July, I worked from like July 1st through July 6th, maybe 5th. 5th. I was going to go home on the 5th and come back and work 2 more days. And stuff happened and I ended up being there longer, but that's a different story that doesn't even need to be on here. But the point I'm making is because I like to help people so much, that gave me fulfillment, but it also took away from my family. It stole from my family my time. My kids are young still. I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, and those two need my time. They need time with their mom. They need time um, to do things and to explore, and I need that time with them. I always thought my kids just needed my time. I need my kids' time because they're very important to me. This time is going to be gone faster than I know. And the thing that Dada ABC does is they offer me time with my kids and time with my family that I didn't have before. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I can climb on here, do my work for 3 hours, and then by the time I'm done working, they're up, they're ready to go for the day. We have breakfast, we go do something, we go out for ice cream. The Friday, Saturday, like I said, that's a tough turnaround. So normally I take a nap in the morning, but also I just take them out for time. We go to the beach, we go for walks, we go to the park. I spend more time with my husband. Because he's a teacher as well, so we have summers that he gets to go with us. So that has given me so much freedom. We get paid well. I know I'm not going to tell you how much I get paid because that's personal, but you can get paid up to $25 an hour. That's not a fictional thing. That's not made up. There are teachers that make up to $25 an hour. There's opportunities for bonuses, for wearing the correct colored shirt, for showing up on time, things that we consider to be just normal things that you do every day. You show up on time for work. That's expected of us. We wear the appropriate clothing. We make sure that our equipment works when we're teachers too. So it's nothing that's extraordinary that you get bonuses for. It's just easy things that you do. Another question that I had somebody ask me was tips for the interview process. I'm actually going to make a video for that because I think it's really important to know that when you're going in for an interview, it's kind of like the same thing as going in for a regular interview. You want to look nice. You need to wear a nice top, nice pants. I mean, not that you're going to stand up and show them what you're wearing, but you need to dress the part. If you're going to be a teacher, you need to dress like a teacher. You're not going to go and say, I want to be, for instance, go to a job interview and say, well, I want to be a construction worker and show up in a prom dress. Not going to work. So you need to make sure you dress for the part, dress for the job that you want to do. So dress appropriately. Also, your interviewer is on Skype. They're going to get a first impression of you. You get one chance for that first impression. Your background is dirty. This is my new background, so this is actually really, to me, blah and boring and horrible. So don't pay attention to this. But if your background is messy and dirty and there's things laying all over, that's going to be an impression that you make on them. So that's something to really think about. I'll make a whole video about it, kind of give you tips, things to do, things to have available. But really, the interview process, I think my interview lasted 5 minutes, maybe 10. It's very short. It's very to the point. They'll ask you questions that are very easy to answer. It's not difficult. So don't get stressed about it if you're like, oh my gosh, I applied using your referral code and I don't know what I'm doing. I got an email, they want to interview me. Don't freak out. It's not hard. We'll talk about it in a different video. But the other question that I got was, is teaching kids from China difficult? And I'm not quite sure what they meant by that. Um, I teach kids. I'm a teacher. I teach everyone. If I have, like I said, I worked in residential treatment before. That's not necessarily a teacher, but I taught things. I taught life skills to students and individuals that were there. So to me, no, it's not hard to teach anybody. There's times that it's difficult. It's times that there's some barriers there because you don't know exactly what they know already because you're getting a student maybe, let's say, from a trial class. Well, a lot of students already have some English speaking background, but you don't know how much until you step into that classroom. And for trial classes, you have 15 minutes with them. So you need to assess and you need to teach and you need to do your best while being animated and fun and use TPR and be excited and make sure that you are talking to them appropriately, and that can be difficult. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. That is probably the hardest part of my job, is doing a trial class and having to assess it and teach it quickly. I usually take the first minute to assess how much do you know. Usually I do it with an introduction. Hello, my name is Teacher Amanda. What is your name? If they can't answer that question, they don't have a very big background in English. And at that point, teaching them to say, my name is, and saying their name might be a longer process. You might need to take some time on that. Introductions, hello. Teaching them that is pretty easy. They catch on pretty quick. Sometimes you get very shy students. Sometimes you get very loud students. Sometimes you get students that don't want to do the work that you're giving them. They want to talk about something else, which at times is okay. You want to stick with the information that you've been given, but you also want to teach them English. So there's a very good balance there. But you going off on your own and saying, hey, let's talk about horses, when your lesson is not about horses. Maybe it's about street safety or animals is always one that I think of, on the farm, and you talk about horses. Well, if they're a student just learning vocabulary about a horse, like what is a horse? You teaching them about the hooves on the horse need to be scraped, or I don't know what horse hooves need to be done, but teaching them those things is too advanced. So just being able to assess where your student is at and teaching them is super, super, super important. We are super lucky at Dada ABC, though, that we have a teacher before us assess where they're at and give them appropriate coursework. So you don't have to do a lot of that. They're going to have appropriate coursework for you to use, but you also need to make sure that you're making some assessments and you're making some calls. That's probably the hardest part about teaching kids from China, is just making sure that you assess them. But that's really any student that you have. When you walk into a classroom on your first day, the first thing that you do is you assess students. I think the first thing that I do and that I have done in my first week of school, first of all, is routine. Second thing, while I'm doing routine, assess. What do my students know? What do I need to do to take them to where they need to go? As teachers, we do that all the time. So that is something that you will have to work on. I'm working on it still. Sometimes at assessment, I'll be like, oh, I know, I got this. This student knows plenty of English. But really what they've done is memorize some things, and that's not knowing English. So it's kind of a tricky balance. But it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. It's not too terribly difficult. Those are the top questions that I've got. I've gotten some different ones, but I'll work on answering those. Like I said, the interview process, I'll make a video of how I got ready for my interview process, how to have a successful interview. I will also talk about, maybe make a video on using props. I use lots of props in my classroom. I use my ukulele. I'm totally making a video on this. This is not a hard instrument to learn. I play guitar, but seriously, I have two sons, and this is like super easy. The strings are nylon, they don't hurt your fingers, they're not hard to press down. Super easy. Kids in China love these, and I did not realize this until I had a student like freak out on me and was like, "Oh my gosh!" I thought I scared him. It's quite funny. I thought I terrified this little boy, and he went and grabbed his ukulele. So this is a great tool if you have any musical talent. Get these. This is a little bit more expensive. Obviously, it's electric acoustic. So, but you can get a ukulele, $30 on Amazon, like super cheap. But I also have horrible. Hold on. I probably should save this for my video, but whatever. I've got this guy. He's a bee. He's a hand puppet. Hand puppets are cool. Everybody loves a hand puppet. Bzzz. I've also got I Make It Rain finger puppets. I've got tons of finger puppets. These are super cheap on Amazon. I usually try to hide that I'm talking, but I'm not a ventriloquist, so it doesn't go well. My kids sometimes go, "That's not..." Oh, I'll introduce you to him. "That's not Pete talking. That's you. It's not me, it's Pete. Pete's mean. He pretends that he tries to say things when I'm talking, and it's inappropriate." Don't tell him that, but... So I always joke that everybody loves Pete more than me. I've got puppet envy. Pete talks. "Hey, what's up?" He waves. He smiles. We do emotions this way when Pete's sad, when he's shy, happy, angry. Ah! So he does lots of things in my classroom. I always said I would not be a puppet user, but totally am. So can't hate me for that. But anyway, that is all. Sorry this video got so long, but I will make a video on interview. I'll make a video on props. Props are my favorite. I will make a video on the ukulele. That's going to be my favorite one. The ukulele is super fun. I'll make I'm actually I'm using a Mac right now to do class. It's not my favorite, but I might make a video on using Mac versus using PC. I've got both. I'm horrible. I'm a technology junkie. Can't stop. Love it. But different headsets I've used. This right now is the headset I have to use because I'm using my Mac and I don't like it. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, of course I'd actually just made it mute or whatever. But so I'll talk about a bunch of stuff, things that worked for me, things that haven't. I'll just kind of share my journey. It's been super fun and I can't wait to tell you guys about it. So see you next time.